Hello there. The Department for International Trade is in a race with time to get post-Brexit trade deals in place by the 1st of January. Firstly, please subscribe and like this video to give my channel a boost. And I'm always uploading new content, so please do check back daily. And a big thanks to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. The International Trade Secretary Liz Truss is now under extreme time pressure to ensure that the trade deals so far put in place, worth some £80 billion, are ratified before the end of the Brexit Implementation Period. This concerns the 15 continuity trade deals we need to ensure that trade continues seamlessly with those countries as we move out of the Brexit Implementation Period or transition phase. We now have 50 days to go until the great moment when we're free of Brussels control, or mostly free except for the parts of the Withdrawal Agreement that persist. But there are only 36 days to go until Parliament rises for Christmas and the New Year break. And when taking normal House of Commons procedures into account, there are only 21 parliamentary sitting days to go until Parliament goes into seasonal recess. And the point here is that the paperwork for those trade deals that Liz Truss and her team have been rushing around the world to put together have to be placed before both houses of Parliament for 21 sitting days before the government can ratify them. That means that as far as I can see, those papers have to be ready and laid today. Now, I checked earlier and the government website does not indicate that this has happened yet, apart, that is, from reports on the deals with the Ivory Coast, Ukraine and Japan that have already been lodged. But there are over 50 agreements in total to get through, and it appears that 15 of them remain outstanding. But as is normal, it does sometimes take a day or two for lodged papers to be listed on the website. The 21-day requirement is a statutory requirement under the 2010 Constitutional Reform and Governance Act, the CRAG. Now, if the deadline is missed, there will be ramifications for importers and exporters to the countries concerned between the 1st of January and the date any trade treaty does get ratified. But if all the Department for International Trade needs is a couple of extra days, then it is not inconceivable that Parliament could be asked to sit on Fridays, which would provide another 5 sitting days. There is also an exceptional cases procedure that can still be used, but the deals would still need to be ready. And yes, that's right, Parliament does not routinely sit on Fridays, unless, if I recall rightly, there is anti-Brexit legislation to be rushed through the House. The Shadow Secretary of State for International Trade, Emily Thornberry, wrote a rather scathing letter to Liz Truss yesterday and also tweeted, "What an absolute shambles. The DIT has had years to secure continuity trade deals with the likes of Canada and Singapore. Now they've got little over 24 hours left, or they won't get them ratified in time for the 1st of January. Then she attached her letter to her next tweet saying, "Here is my full letter to Liz Truss, informing her that the deadline is tomorrow to start the proper ratification process for all the outstanding continuity agreements, and asking her what she plans to do. More than £80 billion in trade is at stake, 5.66% of our global total last year." And in her letter, Thornberry says, "During the calendar year 2019, there was a clear momentum behind this process, with 20 continuity agreements successfully delivered, including 8 such agreements in the first quarter of 2019 alone, 5 of them personally agreed and signed by your predecessor, Liam Fox." And after pointing out the CRAG timing requirements, Thornberry went on to say, "However, as your department's focus switched in 2020 to the talks on potential new free trade agreements with the United States, Australia, New Zealand and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP, as well as an enhanced continuity agreement with Japan, last year's momentum appeared to die out. And then she really plunged the political knife in with: not a single additional continuity agreement was secured in the first 8 months of 2020, and in their correspondence with the Shadow International Trade Team, representatives of countries ranging from Cameroon to Montenegro have reported that no formal talks were even conducted in that period. Thornberry also pulled Truss up for not abiding by her commitment to keep Parliament informed, saying that the 21-day deadline makes it impossible for the International Trade Secretary to honour her commitment to share details of the deals confidentially with the Commons International Trade Committee and the Lords International Agreements Subcommittee at least 10 days prior. And also added, "What makes this abysmal and shambolic state of affairs all the worse is that when we look at the length of time your department has had to get these agreements in place, ensure proper parliamentary scrutiny and protect our continued free trade, it has been so totally avoidable. In many cases, your department has had more than 4 years since the Brexit referendum to secure the 15 outstanding continuity agreements." And Thornberry also called on Liz Truss to present herself to MPs and make a statement in the House. As far as I can see, the only things missing from her letter were a call for Liz Truss to resign and demands that the UK extend the Brexit transition phase and stay in the EU Single Market and Customs Union. Although I'm sure that the usual suspects will be stepping smartly forward to do so. Now, I'm assuming that the Department for International Trade has been keeping its Secretary of State fully up to speed on all of these legal requirements and what steps should now be taken. But as a Brexiteer, I want this to work. I want all that can be put in place to be put in place, but I also want clarity on where our continuity trade deals fall short and what the effects will be, if any. And as this is the first time that this has been brought to the fore of public attention, we also need to know if it's just opposition froth or if there is real substance behind it. So it will be interesting to see if Liz does pop into the House to make a statement either after PMQs today or tomorrow. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell, or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it by following the link in the descriptions box below and support me on Patreon or PayPal. So what do you think about all of this? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.